Well, our new report is trying to say to the new government that we need to have a credible plan set out within the first 100 days of that new government to return our public finances to health and to balance by 2015-16. And we have some messages specifically on public service reform that can help the government achieve that. We've set out what we think is 3 quite clear steps that the government can implement in the short, medium and longer term over the next Parliament to reform public services to contribute to a reduced deficit. The first is to apply an emergency brake, which means immediately reducing labour costs we're proposing a 2-year pay bill freeze. And we think that public service managers can achieve that through a mixture of recruitment freeze for certain types of staff and a pay freeze for other types of staff. It will be up to them to decide how that's achieved. The second step then is to try and find areas of waste or duplication and inefficiency. And we've got some examples in this report today which show areas of shared service, so HR and finance systems, back office, procurement costs, and also some waste and fraud, which we think the government can take some steps quite quickly in the new Parliament to eliminate them. The third step then would involve change later in the Parliament, towards the second half, and we're calling that re-engineering and transforming public services. We know that at the moment many people who receive public services often draw on several different areas. So people who have bad housing sometimes have unhealthy lifestyles, they sometimes have run-ins with the criminal justice system, and they sometimes underachieve at school or are out of work for periods of time. And at the moment, public services are still too often delivered in silos. They're delivered very separately. And we've got some good examples in our report today which show how they can be joined up to not only improve the outcomes they achieve for the people using them, but also reduce the cost as well. No, we're not proposing cutting public services. We're trying to cut the cost of public services by eliminating waste, by eliminating duplication where it exists, and by using the private sector in a way that lowers the cost. But we don't think that will mean that the public using those services is in any way reduced in its entitlements.